Hey, what's up everyone? Matt Montanez here, and today I'm bringing you a Mastering 101 tutorial, basics to mastering pretty much, just to get a master done really fast and make it sound good and ready to send out to the client or whoever you need to send it out to, or to even to upload and put it out. Speaking about uploading and putting out, let me mention Hyperfollow. It's an incredible, powerful tool, and it's super awesome. It's by DistroKid. It's part of your DistroKid plan if you're on the Pro and the Label account. The basic account doesn't get it because you don't get to schedule your releases. The other two you do. So what does it do? Basically, Hyperfollow lets you send out a Hyperfollow page, your link, and you can add your Bandcamp page. You can add video links to it. It lets you have pre-saves for your unreleased tracks. So when you schedule them, it shows them there to pre-save them for your fans. It collects your fans' emails when they pre-save your music, and that's great to stay in touch with your fans. It lets you collect analytics and demographics. It tells you other artists your fans listen to, so that's always useful information. It automatically uploads your unreleased records. So as soon as it's done uploading, it automatically adds it to your Hyperfollow page. So you never have to send out those pre-saved links anymore. It's just one link. It automatically updates every time you upload an unreleased record. Very, very cool. I highly recommend it. Go check it out. It's part of your DistroKid account. And if you don't have a DistroKid account, go ahead and hit the link in the description below and you can save 7% on your first year. Super dope. I like it. Check it out. Now we're going to get into this mastering stuff. Right? Before we actually get started, you see I have a meter here. This meter, it's in LUFS, and I use LUFS, but other people does use RMS, and RMS is root mean square, and you can Google that and find out what that is. Basically, that's the average overall loudness of the music. The thing about that though is us as humans, it doesn't adapt to the way we hear stuff, the RMS. So let's say you master something to -13 RMS, then there's another song to -13 RMS. It doesn't mean they're gonna sound exactly the same loudness. LUFS translates more to the way that we hear stuff. If you master something at -13 LUFS and another song's at -13 LUFS, they should sound about the same. Keeping that in mind, I use LUFS. Why do we use LUFS? Why do we need to worry about these meters? You're probably thinking. Well, the thing about it is all streaming services, they all cap you at a certain loudness, and it's really to prevent like a loudness wars type of deal, even though people still try to go as loud as possible. So you want to get as close to this LUFS as possible, this cap. I think Apple Music is like -16 LUFS. All this you can just Google and you can find out the right information. It's -16, I think. YouTube's 14 or 13, -13. Spotify and Tidal, I think, is -14. You want to get around that range so your song's not super quiet or it's not getting super compressed, because once you pass that cap, they're going to compress your music to be the same level. So where should you master, right? Because you want your stuff to sound good on all streaming services. Well, me personally, I like to stick around -9 LUFS. I know people who do go to -7 and it doesn't sound bad at all. I tend to fall more closer to -7 in hip hop stuff where it's big heavy bass, but I still try to stick around -9 personally. And I haven't had a complaint with my mastering, so after these tips and tricks on mastering, I hope you actually can do it and you don't get complaints. This song here I'm gonna master is by Fashawn. It's called Born in America. They had someone else master it, and that's the version out on Spotify, and it actually has like this pumping effects that I don't like. So I decided, hey, let me master it. I'm gonna master it. I'm gonna send it to Fash and Mass Appeal, and hopefully they dig it and they use this version on the album instead of the version that's out. This record's real cool though, so I'm gonna play it so you can hear the mix, and then we'll just jump into like the mastering tricks.
My people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down, and we can go back home. This land is ours now, ours now, ours now.
So as you can see, I'm already at -9 LUFS. That's exactly where I like to be in my loudness. Just to show you, it's really just all going out into like my auxiliary channels. And here's my auxiliary channels, and my auxiliary channels are all going to a mix bus. On my mix bus, I have the beautiful Brainworks Townhouse Bus Compressor by Plugin Alliance. It's my favorite. It sounds incredible. It's so musical. Then I got a width plugin, which I added a little width. This is usually 1.00. I just boosted up 0.17. Nothing special there. And then that mix bus goes out to a master bus, and also it molts out to a print so I can print it as well. But I'm just gonna master right into this session here. Here on my master, all I have is my L2 limiter, and I always keep it at these settings, my master. I just like the way it sounds when it crunches at this setting. And then I have my meter, which is here, and you guys are seeing that. So now the fun part, right? Step one. Step one for mastering, you want to EQ. And of course you want a lot of references, especially if you're using headphones like me. I know what I'm looking for, so I'm not really gonna pull up references this time, but for the references, you're just listening to the overall tone, like their bass is sitting at this level, their mids are at this level, their highs are at this level. You're not trying to be like, okay, my kick needs to be this punchy, my snare needs to be this snappy. That's the mixing engineer mind, to do punchy kicks, snappy snares. Mastering is overall tone and balance to keep everything even. When you're going from song to song, you're not trying to get this one has hella bass and then this one doesn't have any bass. Like, you want all that tone to be even and balanced through. You're just adding that shine on top of the mix. Do not ruin the mix. It's that easy. So we're gonna do the first thing, it's EQ. I know what I'm looking for this EQ. So let's pull up a stock EQ and I'm gonna listen first, hear what I want, which I kind of have an idea, but I'll do it again. Then we'll make some adjustments. I'll bypass while it's playing so you can hear how things just kind of fall apart and crumble. And it's kind of funny because it sounds good now, but you're gonna be like, whoa, like just those small adjustments really changed everything. And it's really just like 1 to 3 dB increments. You're not going further than that. Let's give it a quick play. I'm gonna stay at the same loop and we'll go from there.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down.
So first thing I hear is I want more kick drum. The kick drum is in the low end. I'm gonna say it's about 60 Hertz. I'm gonna go in this low band. I'm gonna go 60 Hertz. I'm actually gonna bring the Q smaller, a little more narrow. It's not really gonna be a notch, but it's not really gonna be this wide bell. And I'm gonna go 60 and I'm just gonna boost it, just exaggerate, just so you guys can hear it. But I'm thinking we're gonna do about 2 dB, but let's see what we got. Let's go about 8.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall.
And you hear it, that's where the kick's sitting at. So let's go there and I'm gonna bring it down and just play it.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go.
And that sounds good. I like that. So let me play it and I'm gonna bypass this band.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go back home. This land is ours now.
And did you hear that? The kick kind of just falls in the background. You just don't hear that kick and rumble anymore. So we just wanted that little boost. I actually feel it's a little too much. So let's bring that bad boy down to, let's say, 2.2. And I'll do it again. So listen at that kick drum and that low end there.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down.
One more time.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall.
Next thing I notice is I want to add a more body to the record overall. The reason why I'm going to boost that up because it adds all the music elements. It just brings them out more. The body, I'm going to start about 250 Hertz here and I'm going to sweep it closer to 350, 400 and we'll see how that sounds. Let's keep the Q at 1 for now and let's just do a nice little size boost and we'll just move to the right.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go back home. This land is ours now, ours now, ours now. When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down.
And I think that sounds really good right there, about 348.5, but I think we're doing a little too much. Let's bring that bad boy down just a hair.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go back home. This land is ours now, ours now, ours now. Born in America. When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down.
And right there, that's the pocket I want to be in. Listen closely. All the music's going to kind of come up, probably sound a little wider as well. And then once I bypass it, it kind of all just goes away.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go back home. This land is ours.
Very very subtle change, but it makes all the difference. Now, the next thing I want to add is I want to add some energy to the record. And like Dave Pensado says, I feel the energy sections between 1-2K. So I'm going to boost about 1K, but since I know us, the 1K area is very sensitive to us as humans' ears, I like to offset it just a little bit, but that's just a preference. So I like to go about 1.04, 1.06. It's not much, but to me it helps, so you don't fatigue the ears. And let's boost that up and hear how that sounds. And really it just probably needs just a small bump, about 1.8 or something, but I'm gonna boost it up just to exaggerate just a hair.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go back home. This land is ours now, ours now, ours now. Born in America. When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall.
If you actually listen to that, it really adds that extra energy. So I'm gonna play it and I'll bypass it and you'll hear it. It'll just dip down, and that's only a 1.7 dB boost.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go back home. This land is ours now, ours now, ours.
And something that you can pay attention to is this small boost actually brings up that piano up a little bit in that right ear, and it sounds really good. So I'm actually glad that we boost that up to get that piano out just a little bit more.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall.
I'm gonna play it again with it. I'm gonna stop, play it again without it.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall. When my people rise up, the sky will fall.
So it sounds really good to get extra piano in there. It's just a nice little ear candy. And the last thing I feel like we need to add is a little bit of air just to the end of the record. For me, when I boost this up, you can see on this shelf, it looks like it's very steep, it's rough. So I like to smooth that out a little bit. So I go down to about 0.8. And as you can see, that shelf gets a little smoother. I'm gonna push this to about the 9K area and start sweeping up.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go back home. This land is ours now, ours now, ours now.
And that sounds good. Like you get a little extra reverb out of that. It sounds cool. I'm gonna do the same thing. Bypass it and you can hear it.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down.
And I'm just gonna bring it down a little bit. It sounds like it only needs about a 1.2 boost. It doesn't need nothing heavy.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down.
Very cool. So I like that. Let me bypass the entire EQ actually this time. So I'm gonna play it and bypass the EQ.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go back. When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down.
And you hear it. As soon as I bypass it, everything kind of just crumbles. Like it gets back to weird sounding. I mean, not weird sounding, but it gets back to not good sounding anymore. Like now it doesn't sound good, the mix, because it didn't have this master on it. I mean, the master just adds that shine on top. So here it is again.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down.
And then as soon as I enable it, all that music comes back out. The next thing I want to do is add a compressor. And I know we already got a compressor on here, but when you're compressing for mastering, you want something with more of like a slow attack, because you want to just really add a color. You're not trying to squish the dynamics. You're not really trying to round anything out from here. It's just adding color. So the compression should be 1 dB gain reduction or lower, in my opinion. Some people go a little more, but I usually stay about 1 dB and lower. Sometimes the needle doesn't even move. It's just to add character or color. It's just the sound overall. So I have these couple settings and I like to start here. I have one that says start, but it just changes just very slightly. But I'm gonna use this one here and I'm gonna see what the needle's doing, and I can bypass it so you can hear it.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can go back home. This land is
guys hear a lot that term, the glue, the glue, the glue. There's even a compressor called the glue. And what the glue refers to as is it keeps everything in its place and tight. When you listen to it, it goes falls down, falls down, falls down. When I have the compressor on, everything sounds real where it needs to be, like stuck there. When I bypass the compressor, you'll hear it kind of like just falls down, and it's kind of like a little smeared, you can say. It's kind of thrown to the side, and you can feel it. It'll get close, tight, and it sounds so solid, and then bypass, it's smeared or thrown to the side. Listen for that. At the falls down, listen to his voice and you'll hear it. That's the easiest spot you'll hear it at.
When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. When my people rise up, the sky will fall down, fall down, fall down. And we can't go back.
So that's all it's doing, is keeping everything where it needs to be, but it's adding that color. It has a nice tone to it and it makes it sound really musical. So I like the Puig Child or any Fairchild emulation. They all sound really good for a master compressor. That's my favorite one that I recommend. Last thing, the third step, it's adding a limiter. My limiter is, this is the settings. I always stay at negative 1.4, 0.3 on the L2 limiter by waves, and then I quantize it for when it needs to be quantized, bouncing to MP3. That's it. You're done. You got EQ, compression, and limit. You can add width if you need to, and you can use like the S1 imager, you can use the Ozone imager, you can even use the Polyverse wider plugin. But be very careful because it can start adding artifacts and weird stuff, but those are things you can do for any kind of width plugin you want. But this is what I do. I do these 3 steps, make it simple, and I get a lot of compliments on my master just because of that. I hope these quick tricks for mastering is easy for you guys to do and understand, and really help you out to make your masterings better, so you don't need to send it into eMaster or LANDR or anything like that. You can just do it yourself at home real quick. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment or shoot me an email or follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or wherever those links are down below. I try to reply to everybody as quick as possible. Lastly, don't forget, check out Hyperfollow and like, subscribe, share. All right, everybody, take care.